Hey,
What's up, Bubba?
what's
Doing
going
all right?
on, man?
I'm all good, man. Got I got a guy out here working on the back mother-in-law suite. He's turning it into a woodworking shop slash office.
Oh, nice. So the
So,
mother-in-law suite doesn't actually have to be for the mother-in-law. It could be.
oh, fuck that. Yeah.
It's so
No
funny
way, man.
because I've had these conversations with my wife about, yeah, we should get a mother-in-law suite, and I'm like, man, maybe your mom, but like, I don't want to live with my own mom ever again.
No, no way, man. Like when we first moved here, our intent was that we were like, okay, cool, we're gonna flip this and turn it into an Airbnb, blah 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 blah. But then the area rezoned, and now you can't do Airbnb. So we're like, all right, that's fine. And then we were like, okay, well maybe we'll just have it for extra space for when we have guests over. And then we were like, no, we don't want people over. And then my wife, she really is, she's very artistic, so she's been doing research and getting into flipping furniture, buying,
Okay.
prefabricating it and stuff like that. So so I was like, why don't we just turn it into a wood shop for you? And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah. So hired a guy, he came over, he's out there, he's refacing the whole thing. So it'll be, you walk in, you'd be like, okay, there's a workbench here, there's an office area here. You can pretty much do whatever you want to it, because we're gonna put, this this epoxy flooring on there, so it's durable, everything. And there'll be an office area. So even if we don't do woodworking after like a year, we still have it as an office, and then a wood shop for like doing projects and stuff like that. But the main thing is that it's gonna get it up and running for her, so she's got an area where she can go work and make some kind of. We've got like 10 or 12 pieces of furniture already, like ready for her to work on, just
You
picking it
talking
up for
like
odds and
couches and stuff like this, or?
talking like real wood furniture from like the 20s. Like
Nice.
we've got a baker's cabinet back there from 1930. We've got a rolling island, like a kitchen island from like the 20s,
Oh,
all
nice.
in good condition. So, we picked up these items for like a couple $100, and with a little bit of paint and TLC, you'll be able to flip them for $500-$600.
It's so
So
funny because
pretty
when
cool
me and
shit,
my
man.
wife first started dating, I had these I lived alone and had these old couches that were given to me, and they were all wood, and the cushions were covered in plastic, and everybody used to make fun of me like, you got these fucking old grandma couches. And eventually I just got tired of, like, you could spill shit on them, it didn't
Mm-hmm.
matter, they were covered in
Yeah.
plastic.
Yep.
But so we eventually got rid of them because it wasn't enough space for us to like comfortably both be on it, and it didn't really matter to me because I wasn't really home very much. But now, and we looked at getting it reupholstered a while back, and I didn't realize, like, in New York City that stuff's really expensive.
Yeah, there's actually a market for flipping couches. And so people will go and they'll put their couch on, and it's like, dirty or covered in dog hair. It's like free, right? So you go and you pick it up and you clean it off, and you might spend $150 on the couch, right? But then you turn around and flip it for $300, because all you did was clean it up and then offer free delivery. And then you're only looking for a certain couch, you're only looking for a sectional. So you're looking for sectionals because that's, that fits a lot of people on there, and they hold their value for more for some reason. But yeah, man, I mean, you can fucking sell anything, man.
You
I
could
mean,
sell
like,
any. That's all I wanted to say. You could sell literally anything.
anything, man. I mean, like these fucking massage guns, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like they're like $20 from China, but people are flipping them for, $400 from Hypervise. But then, I got this one right here.
Is that a Hypervolt?
It's the same model. It's the same
Oh,
fucking
okay.
model,
Yeah.
right? Same model, but you see how intrigued you are. You're like, oh fuck, it's a Hypervolt. They're all the same shit.
It's all the same shit,
They all
man.
turn on, and they do this shit right here.
Yeah.
There's no fucking difference between
Yo,
it.
it's
Nothing.
so funny because like as a kid, it's hard to understand that, right? Like when I was a kid, my mom would like all the other kids at school would have this brand name thing, and it's like I need to have this thing, or everybody's gonna fucking clown me
Make
for
fun
not
of me.
having this
Yep.
thing. So,
Yeah.
but it's all the same shit.
Yeah, it is, dude. It all comes from China. It just comes down to like now everything comes from the same place, but there's different levels of quality, right? So you could get like that sweater you have on right there, probably super comfortable, nice and soft, really flexible. You could get the same exact one, and that shit's like putting on a straight jacket. You're like,
Oh
all
yeah,
fucked
yeah,
up.
for sure.
So but that's why it's lucrative to do your own branding, your own t-shirt. Like this shirt right here, this Raglan shirt with my logo on it was, I don't know, $15.
You know
right?
what's funny about that is I it took me years. I worked in fashion for 10 years.
Yeah.
It took me years to know what raglan, what like made it be considered a raglan shirt.
Yeah.
And raglan shirts are dope, but you gotta have
Yeah,
shoulders.
you gotta be fucking stout to wear a Raglan, dude. Because if you got little schoolboy shoulders,
You gotta have shoulders in a raglan.
Yeah, you do, man. Yeah.
You know?
No, but like this shirt right here, if I went and got this shirt at like Dillard's or like a JC Penney's or some shit like that, a retail store, the Raglan in some print right here, it's gonna cost me like $30.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So and why are you gonna wear someone else's logo on your chest? Like, I'm not doing that shit anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when I go out, I'm either wearing a shirt that's got no brand on it, or I'm wearing my brand.
See, that's cool, man. Yeah. And it's funny because I feel like the more you start becoming your own brand, that's what it is. And that's what I think happened with social media too. You started realizing over the years, like, wait a minute, I could like really represent myself all the way. And I think about it in a way like superheroes wear, like Spider-Man is not going to wear a fucking Batman suit. You know what I mean? He rocks his own shit.
Yeah. He rocks his own shit.
Batman's not really a superhero.
No, he's not, man. No, he's really not, man. But it's not. Like if you're bopping around town and you got your logo on, you may not get any interaction, but somebody's gonna read your shirt and be like, "Fucking Maverick's Fieldhouse, fuck is that?" Fucking Google. You know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh, that's a gym. Oh, well, fuck, they're right here in town." Yada yada.
You're a walking billboard right there.
You are, man, and it's and you're stout. You know what I mean? If you're stout, you're good looking, and you look the part. People are gonna fucking they're gonna stalk you. They are.
Well, first of all, I want to say because we started rolling right away, but I do want to introduce you guys. This is the first ever edition of Corey Has a Guest. It's a side project on Corey Has a Podcast. It's called Corey Has a Guest, and my first ever guest. I'm honored to have Coach Maverick, who has become my coach. And basically the way it works is you can actually, people that you see on social media, people that you see and they're doing something that you like, they're not as out of reach as you think they are, because sometimes it just takes contacting that person, talking to them about what they do and showing interest in it, and you guys find that you have some commonality, and you end up, you can talk to people that you want to, because I got this guy to come sit here and talk to me today and talk to you guys today. Hopefully you guys can take something away from this. So Coach Maverick, I want to have you introduce yourself here on Corey Has a Podcast, and tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into fitness and like what keeps you going every day with that.
Fitness started in 99. Did powerlifting, power building, or whatever you want to call it. Basically I showed up to the gym and just, slung heavy weight. And I played a lot on my metabolism in my youth for disregard for movement. I did move quite well, but there's a lot of technical issues that come with weight training that I didn't know about, because all I did was work out. And it wasn't until recently, not like yesterday, but in my 30s where I started to understand the difference between working out and training. And the biggest difference is a goal. So if you're training, you're working towards a goal, and if you're working out, you're just trying to, accomplish a good sweat or chase a pump or feed your ego or something along those lines. And no, those things are cool for instant gratification, but what I've started to realize is that fitness is not about the being that you are today. It's about who you are in 1 to 5 years. And if you look back on yourself as a 40-year-old and you're 50, are you going to be like, hey man, what were you thinking? So that's the biggest thing that I've learned over my years with exercise, is that it's all about training and giving yourself realistic goals. So with that, the powerlifting ended in 2012, and then CrossFit started from 2013 to like 2015 or 16 or something like that. And then I fell off that wagon just because it just became, CrossFit.
Yeah.
And a few injuries too many. And then my coach, who I met as I was pretty much removing myself from the CrossFit IV, and she was like, hey, why don't you try the kettlebell out? And so 2015 I started the kettlebell, so it's 2014 that I stopped. So much fitness that you don't remember things. So
yeah.
But 2015 is when I started, because that's when I got Strong First Level 1 certified, and then Strong First Level 2 certified. And that's pretty much when my kettlebell stuff, started to kick in. And then I still use the barbell, but for classic lifting. And
Maybe
then,
like a bench press or a deadlift or something.
Yeah, like big five, squat, bench, deadlift, press,
Military,
bent over row. Yeah. And then in 2018, I got rid of the barbell pretty much completely. And then I just strictly did kettlebells. So I took my mindset of powerlifting and flipped it into kettlebells. So that's why I train with massive kettlebells, but
huge kettlebells.
Well, the saying is you're only as strong as the heaviest weight you have. And, and strength doesn't really care who you are. Weight doesn't care who you are. It's there for you to do with it as you please. And if you move really, really well, it's not going to hurt you. It's only going to propel you. So I took the powerlifting mindset with it, and then I molded it into Built by the Bell philosophy. And then recently I went and got a barbell certification because it was based on powerlifting from Dr. Mike Hartle, and he really, really broadened my spectrum on reconnecting my mind and my DNA with the iron with regards to foot placement, bracing, alignment of the body during certain movement patterns that I thought I was aware of, but I wasn't aware of. So with that being said, never stop learning, and always strive to not necessarily be a master of what you do, but always just be a seeker of bettering what you do. Because you can get called like you're the greatest of all time, but it's really not a compliment that you want, because then for some people you'll just be like, oh, I'm the greatest, so I don't need to do anything else. And then for other people, they'll take it as a compliment and be like, well, thank you, but they're still humble in their mindset to keep on pressing forward, to keep learning, because there's just so much stuff out there to learn, but there's so much stuff out there that you have to be careful of, because there's just a lot of saturated fitness out there, and it's very hard for beginners and for seekers switching from one modality to the next to be able to be to believe it.
Oh yeah.
It's like to be able to believe it. You've got various kettlebell forms, and you've got the CrossFit mentality being like molded into what kettlebells is. And then you get kettlebells are being plagued as just a cardiovascular tool. Oh, you can't get strong with kettlebells, or you can't. There's always a you can't in front of a kettlebell.
Do you feel like a lot of
Until
people have
they get
like
a reason.
aesthetic goals that they feel like the kettlebell can't fulfill? You know what I mean?
Well, I think if a person understands what weight is, then they can eradicate the thought that a kettlebell can't provide a solution to their dilemma.
Right.
Um, if you have a 25-pound rock, a 25-pound dumbbell, and a 25-pound kettlebell and a 25-pound plate, there's no difference between them except for the shape. That's it.
Yep.
You can do as you please with them. Some movements are going to be more advantageous in, like, it's going to be kind of hard for you to palm a 25-pound rock and do a clean with it, but you can do a two-hand clean with it and you can press it. It might be a little bit easier to move a dumbbell to do a curl, but you can manage to do it with a kettlebell if you wanted to. And then if you wanted to do a curl with a plate, you'd have to basically put two hands on it. But at the end of the day, weight is weight. And once the person realizes that, it just comes down to what weight and what tool they connect best with. That's all that matters, man.
Oh yeah.
It's like, that's why I stopped doing barbell so much, because I connected with the kettlebell so instantly, man. It was like ramen noodles. Bing.
Well,
Like,
you said this term last time we spoke. You talked about kettlebell hippies, and I've been thinking about that since. Like, what would make someone a kettlebell hippie?
what do you mean, like a hippie? Like what do you
Like
mean?
you're like, one of my kettlebell hippie friends, like we like somebody who loves kettlebells. I heard you say that, and not now, but last time we spoke, and I guess it was you were talking about someone who is also just a person who trains strictly with kettlebells and like feels connected with them. And
Oh, so like just like very, very into it with the kettlebells. I mean, so, um, so like, I guess I think I remember saying that. I just can't remember what context it was in. But if you want to think about a kettlebell as a martial artist, or as somebody who's connecting with the kettlebell, it's like, hippies, back in, the 60s and stuff like that, they were connecting more like on psychedelics and really getting creative with their thought process. And that's one of the advantageous elements to kettlebells, is that it really is an extension of your extremity. So you can create any sort of pattern you want with it, just as long as you have an understanding of the basic structure. You know what I mean? It's like you got a house, build your foundation, and then if you want to put a water slide in your house, then go ahead. But
yeah,
if you just want to have four walls and some rooms and some bathrooms and a kitchen, then that's cool too. It's still going to provide, everything that a house needs to provide.
love
But
that.
I guess having that flow state of mind where you just like one with the kettlebell, yeah, that could be a little bit hippie right there.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I also love that you said just always be learning, right? Like
Yep.
this person's the greatest ever. Like you're the greatest ever this year. More information and more knowledge is going to be coming out, and you're just going to be, you don't want to fall behind and just ride that wave of a few people told you were great. It's nice to just constantly be learning things. And I feel like my journey was kind of similar to yours in a way where I was really heavily into bodybuilding for a long time. And I was moving weight, but I actually wasn't moving that well. And I didn't know that. Like it was unbeknownst to me, I was just kind of just muscling things around, and there wasn't really much technique. It was like, look how much I can bench, and
Yep.
then eventually something happens, like for me, I ended up hurting my lower back really bad. I ended up hurting my lumbar spine. And I just thought like, man, I'm never really going to be able to do anything again. Like I had gotten so, it was so bad that one morning I woke up and I couldn't walk. Like I couldn't move one leg in front of the other to like without feeling like shooting excruciating pain in my lower back. And I had to go to the hospital, and I was like in a wheelchair, and they stuck this lady comes out with this needle, and it was like It was like the size of a fucking yardstick. And she's like, do you want this in your ass or in your shoulder? And I'm like, you can put it in my shoulder. And
Yeah, that was the wrong choice right there, buddy.
I know I should have got it right because my arm was like dead for the rest of the day. But I was just like, I hate needles anyway. And every time I go, I'm like, they're like, but I hate needles. They're like, you're covered in tattoos. I'm like, it's different.
Yeah, it is different. I'm the same way. I don't like getting blood drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
So
but,
yeah. So,
I mean, it doesn't suck. It's more or less an anticipation of fear because you know they're removing something from you, and you're like, well, that's mine. But like, it's not a bad thing. It's actually good to get your blood drawn. You know what I mean? Because
but it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable that feeling. Like, oh, it's just a pinch. And you know what's funny? That's actually the most accurate way it's ever been described to me. Someone's like, it's just a pinch. It does actually feel like a pinch. But you know what? I also don't like being pinched.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I don't think anybody likes being pinched.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But, yeah. Like, St. Patty's Day. Yeah. You better wear green. Definitely, man.
So did you grow up in Florida?
So I've lived in Florida since 91.
Okay.
But before that, I lived in Germany from 82 to 91. So, yeah. So my mom was Army, and she was stationed in Berlin from 82 to 85, and then we were back stateside for like 9-10 months, and then back into Germany from 87 to 92. So, yeah, and then in 91 she retired from active duty and went full guard. So, yeah, we moved to Orlando, and then that's where I grew up. I grew up in Orlando, and then when I did my Air Force, I was in the Panhandle, which is near like Tallahassee, Destin, Panama City, just below Alabama, and then I lived there from 2001 to basically the end of 2009, and then that's when I moved back down to Orlando, and then I started developing my unbeknownst path to becoming a trainer, and then a coach, and then a business owner, and then an online instructor.
That's crazy, man. And that's awesome. And I feel like I saw something that you had posted actually recently where you were talking about, actually, I think you posted something today that I really liked, where you talked about committing to yourself, right? And like, if you never just decided to go full force into those things back then, you wouldn't be where you are right now. And I think,
no, you wouldn't, man. Today I put a post of it was, I said, don't be afraid to do the right thing, even if it's hard. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that's one of the things that people are having a problem with, is that they don't want to do the right thing, because it's difficult to learn basics. It's like, it's difficult to learn your ABCs of fitness, because everybody just wants to right in whatever, in chicken scratch.
you people want to pay for it so it could just get done for them.
Well, no, people don't want to learn what it takes to get good at something. They just want, a lot of people like a wow factor, which is cool. You know what I mean? It's like a roller coaster. You get on it, it's an adrenaline rush, and then you forget it. You know what I mean? But if let's just take a roller coaster, for example, you go to a seminar, and they actually showed you how the roller coaster was built. And there's a reason behind the drops, and the gravitational force, and the G's that you're pulling, and the flips and turns, like stuff. And it's all appropriately placed, so you don't get dizzy, you don't throw up, all those things. You just have a great ride. And when people start to understand that all you need to build is these basic kettlebell movements, or these basic barbell, or these basic calisthenic movements, once you have those, your own creativity will flourish from it. And then you don't have to go out and chase all these radical, individuals that are basically painting the air with a kettlebell. And it's like, what for, you know what I mean? Because they
Oh,
don't know why they're
absolutely.
doing it, you know,
Even
they
on a
like,
basic level, when you're teaching someone, especially when you're taking on someone probably, and I'm sure you know this, who has no experience, and just teaching them the way the body move, like this is a knee dominant move, this is a
yeah,
hip dominant move, like
yeah.
the possibility, like if you can load any movement, you can do any movement if you know how to do it properly. And teaching people that, I think, is so valuable.
It is, man. It's but if the more and more people that are teaching or that are portraying basic movement patterns, it's going to create a culture of individuals seeking fitness to to want to learn the why on how they did that. Like when you see somebody juggling a kettlebell and it's 100 pounds, there's a lot of why and how on how that individual is able to do that. And but then the person will go out and try to do that, and then they'll break their wrist. And they're like,
Oh
well,
yeah.
well, I'm strong, well, I'm fit, I can bench press 315 pounds, or I can leg press 500 pounds. So why can't I do that? Because there's a lot more things that go into it. It's like
Oh,
you
totally.
watch somebody pinstripe an old 1957 Chevy by hand. You know what I mean? You look at him do it, and you're like, oh shit, that's easy. But you don't understand the finger pressure and the balance and concentration and the diminishment of fear that you're going to fuck up that person has gone through to be able to draw that 12-foot straight line down the side of that 57 Chevy. They don't get, they just say like, oh, I can do that, and then it looks like fucking Linus from
Oh,
Charlie Brown was out there straight line on it.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think about that, like in terms of, it's funny, when I was a kid, I was into skateboarding,
Yep.
and I would watch the X Games would be on TV, and I would
Yeah.
like, there was movies and people even like seeing Bart Simpson ride around on a skateboard. I got a skateboard and I went out and I busted my lip on the ground so
Yep.
many times, scraped
Yep.
up my arms and legs.
Yep.
Like, and I'm like, oh, it's not, you can't just go and just get on this and just start fucking doing kick flips and shit. Like, you actually have to practice doing this on a regular basis.
Of course. I mean, but the capabilities are there. I mean, let's take one of the most complicated modalities of fitness, Olympic weightlifting. It is insanely complicated to properly clean a barbell, and let alone properly jerk the barbell, stand back up with it without blowing your lumbar out. And then now you want to elevate that and then do the magical, mysterious snatch of, you see all the memes of, here I am, here I finish, and there's this big gap of, I don't know how it happened. But that's the I don't know how it happened is because the person is not connecting with all sequence of the movement pattern. They're focused on A and they're focused on Z, and they're like, oh, okay, cool, I got here. Whew, that was good. But if they take the time to connect with B through Y, then they're just going to get better. They're going to get better at whatever it is that they do. And once you get better at moving your own body, you get better at everything. You get better at dealing with stress. You get better at dealing with anxiety, with all of these beacons of distraction. And but everybody wants everything quick. You know what I mean? It's like, why do you think the world is fat? You know what I mean? Why do you think we have a health industry? You know, why do you think we have fitness people or health? It's because convenience. You know what I mean? It's like you go buy a hamburger and it's $10 or it's $2.
I saw a
And then you want
commercial for
salad.
the Whoppers. The Whoppers 2 for $5 now.
Yeah.
I saw a commercial.
And then if you want a salad, it's $15. $15, you know, and you got people that are raising 4 kids or whatever, or stay at home this, or working 9 to 5 or 12 to 12. And it's all about convenience. You know what I mean? So that convenience creates a culture of I want it now. And I want the newest thing. I got to have it, because if I don't have it, I'm going to get made fun of. And I don't care how much it costs. I got to have it. You know
Well, it's
what I
like
mean?
WALL-E. Did you ever see the movie WALL-E?
WALL-E with an E?
Yeah.
The cartoon?
That
Not in a
animated movie.
while.
Well,
Yeah, not in a
basically the
while.
world, it's like it kind of seems like a post-apocalyptic world, and then in one part of it, but then all these people are just obese riding around on these hover carts, just like at the push of a button, they could just have whatever they want. They don't really have to move or do anything. But it's a good movie.
But you don't ever hear the saying, the saying is fat and happy, right? You're like, well, I'm just fat and happy. You know what I mean? It's like you're miserably fit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's fucking hard to get in shape. It's hard.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean, it's
rewarding,
to who though? Only to you.
Only to you.
But it's only rewarding to you is because you can thank, the Greek sculptures of, Hercules and Aphrodite and Zeus for sculpting these images of what they idolized as perfection. Pecs and abs and quads and calves and biceps and traps and all these things, this muscular development. And then it just becomes this beacon of like, well, I want to look like that. You know what I mean? And then, I put this thing up as like, I'm glad that of all the things I could have been addicted to, it was fitness, because addiction runs deep in the DNA of every single human being.
Oh yeah.
And, but what addiction you choose is going to dictate your livelihood and your world. And because if you weren't in fitness, you know what I mean, then you and I would have never met, and I wouldn't be on your podcast. I wouldn't be on your podcast. You know what I mean? But you chose to be in fitness, however many years ago, and somewhere along that path, it has led to this point right here where we're chatting and coaching and things of that nature and helping people. But not everybody's addicted to health. You know what I mean? Most people don't like what they do. They don't enjoy their lives. They're not happy with who they're married to. They're not happy that they have kids, or one is happy they have kids and the other one's not. So they're like, why should I even care? So, and that's the vast majority of human behavior. And
that's, yeah,
it sucks, dude.
Unfortunately,
it sucks.
Yeah, bro.
It sucks, but the world has peddled people into that dilemma of, why should I even care? Why do I need to have the muscles? Like, blah 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 blah. And even as a fitness enthusiast of strength and in health, I still battle with the dealing with having to live up to this magazine ideology of, you can't be respected as a fitness influencer, because that's what we are, unless you look like Hercules or Aphrodite or whatever. You're not going to be respected. I had a conversation with a lady the other day, and we were talking about strength and nutrition, and it's like, you can go to anybody for nutritional help. You know what I mean? It's your choice to take it, but don't bash them if they look a certain way, because health comes in all different shapes and sizes, and so does fitness. However, they have played the pinnacle of health and fitness as, these Ken and Barbie doll looking individuals with abs and stuff like that, and biceps.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, not to cut you off, where she said, hey, does having abs mean that you have a strong core? I said, having abs means that you have low percentage of body fat. Does not necessarily mean that you have a strong core.
That's really what it means, because everybody has abs, and they are shaped like abs. But the only difference, exactly that right there, it's like, if you can see your abs, all you have is low body fat. But if you take a strong man or a power lifter,
exactly the example I used,
their
so
core
strong
is like juggernaut proof. You know what I mean? But you can't see their abs because they've got all this.
They need that padding. They need that padding
right
on them so they can move that weight. Weight moves.
They need that
weight.
insulation, man. It does, man. They need that insulation right there. And but that goes back to what I was talking about nutrition And if you're looking for a nutritionist and you're in powerlifting, you're probably going to want somebody who looks like a powerlifter, and they know everything about nutrition with regards to their sport. So it's going to be good for them. But if you stack up a nutritionist that's a powerlifter and a nutritionist that is a bodybuilder, and a nutritionist that is a yoga instructor, there's no difference between them with regards to being a nutritionist. The only thing that's different between them is their physical structure and how they're built.
Yeah.
But everybody thinks that the nutritionist is going to be the bodybuilder because they're the one that's they're most shredded. They got abs. They got chiseled this, blah, 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 blah. And that's the one that they're going to go with, which is bullshit.
Absolutely. And I talk to people about that a lot because the bodybuilder physique that's obviously why I got into it. I have a lot of people in my background and my family that are not in shape and have a lot of health issues as a result of just lack of knowledge of proper nutrition, And so my dad, he was actually in the Army too. He was always into training. Whenever I would stay with him, my parents were separated very young. So I would stay with my dad sometimes. And he was like kind of crazy about it. Like he would like come in the room with a weight vest on, like army fatigue pants, and get me up at 6 a.m. and have me running up and down the stairs and doing push-ups and stuff. I hated it at the time as a kid, but now I think about those things and we laugh together about it. But on my mom's side of the family, it wasn't like that. And that's who I grew up with. So there wasn't like salads and vegetables, and there was fast food and stuff you could put in the microwave and shit, you know what I mean? Like, so, and she did the best she could, but she didn't know any better, So, and the knowledge is out there. You whatever hand you're dealt, you play it until you could, figure out how to make some changes, I think. And that's what I had to do.
There's got to be a new path that is painted as the correct path for people to be able to get that to happen, and it's only going to happen with movement of like-minded individuals out there projecting what is right. Like there's a difference between right and wrong. If it's a red light, you stop. If it's a green light, you go. But right now, people are running those yellow lights all fucking day long, and they're really red. Yeah. And because they just want to get to where they want to get to, and they want to get there fast, and they don't really care about the consequences along the way. It's like more and more people now are taking gear or that extra vitamin D, B supplements, and because they want that physique now, like. Guys are taking gear at 17, 16, 17 years old, and yeah, they're building up this ridiculous muscular physique, but the sustainability is not going to be there because they don't know any better. All they're doing is they're feeling good. They're going to the gym. They're looking at magazines. They're doing upper body every freaking day of the week, and the only legs they do is walking. But then an epiphany happens, and they're like, oh wow, I could actually get bigger if I do my legs, if I train legs, yada yada yada.
Huge thing from when I was growing up too.
Yeah, man. So that's a big problem. Kids are growing up way too fast. They're not having an opportunity to be a kid because there's so much technology at their hands now that it's like, as soon as a kid gets a phone, they're almost an adult.
Oh yeah.
And then you got to think about, kids with their relationships and, how the way humanity is evolving, it's pretty crazy compared to when I grew up in the 80s, and, you didn't have all these things at your hands, you know what I mean? It's like even dating apps or whatever it is, it's like there's no interaction. It's like it's a swipe and a like, and then you meet up, and it's like,
Well, I
whatever
always
happens,
say it like
happens.
there's a picture of a person and
Yeah.
there's a list of there's basically they describe their personality to you and you can like it or
Yeah.
not
It's
instead
like
of
shopping,
actually,
man.
yeah, it's like shopping or it's like looking at a menu at a restaurant,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
there's no interaction. There's no human interaction. And it's like, even when you go out, you're, me, my business is through the cyber. And so when I go out, I have to put my phone away and I connect with my wife. And, my wife and I have been together since 2013. And like, we're always reinventing our relationship. It's always new. It's always fresh. We're always, striving for new horizons and stuff like that. But we interact with each other, and that's just a lost thing of interaction.
I mean, I hope it doesn't get too far gone where people can't pick it back up. Like, because that's a
Oh
thing too.
well,
Like, I get
shit, man.
home, I'm with my wife, and I put my phone like in the other room. You know, I just want to talk to her. I just want to hang out with her, like, because I feel like that's
Yeah.
important. And another thing, I didn't see that a lot too growing up. On the flip side, obviously, like my parents were separated, but like I didn't see the dude come home and like actually hang out with his wife and his kid. You know what I mean? So like I
Oh,
want
that
to
didn't
be,
happen. That didn't happen in the 80s and 90s. That didn't
yeah,
happen like in the baby boomers. Like, mom stayed at home, take care of the kids. Dad worked all day and came home and drank. You know
yeah,
what I mean? That's the life. You know what I mean? It's like now, it's turning into like, oh, who's your swole mate? Be like, that's my gym buddy. Blah 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 blah. And
yeah.
now there's more, fit couples and stuff like that, where couples are actually starting to become teams, and they're pioneers of their life that they're building together. And that's really, really cool to see. And then it's the ones that are like, they're like, oh, well, we're in the crowd and everybody's doing this. Be like, let's go do our own thing.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Like
Let's go do
the
our
thing
own
is like
thing.
who would you do the amazing race with? You know what I mean? Who
Well,
would
first off, I'm over 200 pounds, so I already have a buy for not having to run. Because anybody who weighs over 200 pounds doesn't have to run. I just get on a bike.
yeah, there you go.
But
You know
like,
what I mean
that's
though? Like
that's what you're looking for, man. It's like, I think as human beings, we shouldn't be looking for someone to settle with. We should make right choice, make the right decisions, follow the path that we follow because it's the right thing. And then you're going to stumble upon somebody who likes what you like, does what you do, and is essentially the yin to your yang, and they complement what you suck at. And that's your partner. You know what I mean? It's like, that's who your partner should be at. And what I do like about the way the world is that there's more acceptability of who you choose to be your partner.
oh yeah.
There's more acceptance of, if you see two girls, working out together, or if you see, it's not as much as if you see two guys, but I think it's slowly getting there. But again, I had a conversation with a lady the other day, and it's like, you know, there's this thing of where, the dudes just think they're fucking better.
Yeah, yeah, you do see
And
that.
everybody else,
I saw
dudes
this
just think they're
old
better, and
dude.
they think,
I saw a guy, senior citizen dude, like he was an older gentleman, and he came up to this girl, had to be in her mid-20s. She's like doing some kettlebell deadlifts or something at the gym in Manhattan. And he stood across and watched her and waited for her to put the kettlebell down to go up and be like, hey, you should try it like this. He didn't even do it right. But I'm like, here goes some dude thinking he
that
knows better
because he's a dude,
just because he's a dude.
just because he's a dude. And
That I
like,
hate that.
yeah, man, it's like we're all human beings, and like nobody's better than anybody. The your position in this world should be to be a fucking good person and to help as many people as you can. That doesn't mean enable people. Like, if you have a brother who's got a drinking problem, you don't give him money when he asks you for it. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
help him you help him remove that drinking problem so he can become a better person, right? But that's what gets fed into, you know, into some young boy's mind of, you're better, you know, women are beneath you, blah 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 blah. They're bedridden and fucking housewives, all that kind of shit. And that's just not how human beings should be, because there's no difference between a man and a woman aside from a few things: their genitalia for distinction and their hormones for distinction. But and hormones lead to facial hair and stuff like that. But we all got fucking eyes, nose, ears, lips, heartbeat. Fucking your intestines are no different than my intestines. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
your dermis, your skin is no different than mine aside from pigmentation. There's no difference between any human being on this planet aside from, you know, how they're wired with their hormones and DNA and such. And if people would start to just fucking be cool and stop thinking that they're better, or even worse than, like, oh, well, no, I'm not as good as that.
That's a thing too, bro. That negative self-talk, bro, drives me crazy. And I talk to a lot of my friends about these things. Like, I'll just have conversations with them about, yo, haven't been treating myself well because, and I'm like, yeah, because you're talking to yourself like you're an asshole. Like, you gotta talk to yourself like you're somebody you like.
Yeah, everybody's has got this flower pot, right? This pot of soil in their head, and you can plant a few seeds in there that will grow into a beautiful life, or you can consistently plant these seeds of doubt, of fear, of anxiety, of bullshit, and you'll keep watering them, and that's when you turn into like this piss and vinegar human being, when really deep down inside you're an awesome person. You just don't know how to disconnect with those thoughts. And it's like, if people would have this awakening moment where they don't feed self-doubt, they start to focus on the now and what is their now, and not what is their potential future. You know what I mean? It's like you manifest your thoughts into actions, and then your actions will turn into your vision of what it is
into the life you want. I got one of my close friends. He has this analogy that he made recently that it stuck with me. He said the older you get, you got a boat. Your boat gets bigger and bigger as you get older, and the bigger your boat gets, the harder it is to turn it around. You know what I mean? And you got to start working on your stuff and working on yourself as soon as you can, because it only gets harder. And then next thing you know, you wake up and you're 60 years old and you're like, damn, I've been treating myself like shit for decades.
Well, yeah. And the other problem is that everybody cares about what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, you know, there's sometimes where I may see something, right? And I'm not inclined to the knowledge on why. So I ask my wife, because she's very, very inclined, you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, why is like that? She says, oh, they live this type of culture. I was like, oh, really? She's like, yeah. So I'll go Google it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool. Be like, oh, they listen to the same kind of music I listen to, you know, or whatever, something like that. And then I'll create that connection with them. But more and more people are like, if it's weird, it's wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, if someone see, like both of our haircuts, right? My shit is combed over and I look like Buddy Holly, you know what I mean? With a nice part, yada, yada, yada,
little side part,
right? Little side part, you know what I mean? Right. And then you've got this pop-up kind of little fro thing going on, you know what I mean? And so people may look at you and me and they're instantly going to stereotype the two of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, see, I don't feel that a lot in New York, because, you know, I'm in a city where you got everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you've got a lot of weirdness, which is normal there.
Which is normal here,
but
right?
You go to the fucking Midwest. You know what I mean? Where it's not so, you know, no, man, you know, but that's the thing. It's like across the world, people should just accept people for who they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you want to shave the middle of your head and grow out a fro like that, and you just want a racing stripe down the middle of baldness, that's your thing, bro.
Yeah, I think
Do you think?
I think like, yo, people are gonna show up. You know, that's why I like Star Wars. I'm such a nerd. Cause like you see in Star Wars, someone walks into a bar and you got an alien with an elephant trunk sitting
Yep.
over here. And then you
Yep.
got
There's an
some,
underlining message with Star Wars, man. It's, you know what I
yeah.
mean? It's about, no matter where you are in the galaxy, you know what I mean? Like, just be a nice person, and nice runs in every single person's DNA. It's the influences that they surround themselves with that mute it, that suppress their inner niceness. Because what's the first thing that's said when a baby's born? Oh, look at that sweet baby right there. Because they're
Yo, I
sweet,
think
they're
about that
cuddly,
a
all that
lot.
shit.
I think about that a
Just
lot.
like a puppy, dude. Just like a dog. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
just like a dog.
I've
You can
got
make a
two,
dog into an asshole.
I've got two American Pit Bull Staffordshire Terriers. They're 90-pound dogs, and they look like war dogs if I'm walking them down the road. But all they want to do is lick the shit out of you. That's it.
That's it. You know what's so funny? I
That's
think
all they
about
want to
that
do.
90-pound dogs. When you think of a 90-pound dog, you're like, damn, that's a big dog. I was actually recently reading that tigers can weigh almost up to 600 pounds. Can you imagine running into a tiger?
No, man, that's not happening, bro. That's not. No, I don't ever manifest that thought. You know what I mean? So like, those are the kind of thoughts that, you manifest, and you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna walk out my front door, there's gonna be a tiger right there. And then you get all this anxiety, yada yada yada. And then
That's anxiety right there,
you're like,
100%.
why the fuck would there be a tiger in Manhattan? What the fuck? But like,
You
I'm
ain't
going
getting
to the
away from a
pub.
tiger either.
No, you're not. Be like, well, you better outrun fucking your boy Mike right next to you, because that's who's getting crushed.
Yeah.
But those are
Yeah,
the
it's
kinds of
crazy.
anxiety thoughts that people will do. You know what I mean? It's like, if people would write down their dreams, right, the next day, like immediately when they
So
woke up,
funny that you say
right,
dreams, because I got to tell
write
you
down their
something funny.
dreams. Write down their dreams, right? And then write them down for a week. Like, write them down, turn the page, don't look at it. And then at the end of the week, open it up and read the shit that they dream about. They'll be like, who the fuck is in my
Yeah,
head
what the fuck?
from midnight to 6 a.m.?
Yo, it's so funny. I was like laughing at myself this morning. Like, yo, I feel like the writers, like there's a bunch of guys in the writer's room that are writing these dreams just to fuck with me sometimes. Like, so I was in anticipation of our meeting today. I was like, I went to bed like, all right, cool, man. I got Coach Maverick in the morning. This shit's gonna be dope. And I went to sleep. And when I went to sleep, I had this dream that I was home, but it wasn't home. And my wife was working on something. And then all of a sudden there were all these extra people in our house, like, and it looked like a college dorm. And there were like some dudes practicing like band practice and some people working on laptops and shit. And I walked down this hallway and you're sitting in the back room, but you're like the size of a giant. And I looked at you and I was so small. And there was all this noise, and I saw you, and then I ran out of the room and said, babe, I need you to help me get rid of all these people. And Maverick is fucking huge. Like, but this was a real dream I had. And then I woke up like, yo, that shit was insane. Also, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
No. It's not the movie. It's not the movie Iron Giant or anything like that.
I love that movie. By the way, you know that was Vin Diesel, right? That was Vin Diesel's voice.
In
the Iron Giant. He played
my
giant.
wife calls me that. My wife references me as the Iron Giant. So
that's funny.
His quote is a Buddhist quote: "We are who we choose to be."
Oh yeah.
But the matter of fact on that is that you really aren't who you choose to be, because most people don't make choice based on their own beliefs. They make choice based on the reaction that they're going to get from somebody else.
Oh yeah, absolutely, all the time.
If more people thought you are who you choose to be, then there would be a lot more acceptance with diversity in cultures and in ways of thought, and acceptance of thought. Because if you have a thought process on a topic, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but you have proven your points of why you believe in it, then there's validity to it. It doesn't mean that I have to accept it, and it doesn't mean that you have to press it upon. It just means like, okay, cool. You think that this is this, and you've proven your point, but I don't agree with it. There's no problem.
No problem. I like and learning to respectfully disagree with people, I think, is really important, and a lot of people have not mastered that.
Respectfully disagree is a
Respectfully
great.
disagreeing with people is fine. I do it all the time. I go, oh, that's how you feel about it? Okay. Like,
That's cool.
that's
your
cool,
jam, bro.
It's so fun. I saw this and another to one of your other points, I saw this Keegan Michael Key interview where he said it's funny, like, in terms of being who you choose to be. He was like, it's funny, like, we'll have these dreams and aspirations, and like the adults and the people that are around when you're older raising you, they don't necessarily prepare you for success. They kind of like, will prepare you for, just in case you fail, you should also maybe try to do this, or, just so you can be prepared for when your dream doesn't work out or whatever you choose to be is not working, you can kind of bounce back and you don't have to feel so disappointed. But it's also rare that someone goes, hey, whatever you think you're going to be that. As long as you keep working hard, that's going to be your life. People don't really tell you that.
No, they don't want to tell you that, and they don't want to cheer you on either. You know what I mean? It's like your only cheerleader is your wife or your husband or your close inner circle. Everybody else is going to be like, fucking dickhead. Be like,
yeah.
Like, oh, good for her, good for him, blah 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 blah. And there's a lot of that perspective in social media where it's about boasting about, oh, check me out, look what I can do. And it really creates this unrealistic realm of fitness that has become the norm for fitness. It's like, be like, you want to get fit, bro? Okay, cool. We're going to do 15 backflip into burpees, and then with 60 double unders right after that. And then you're going to swing this 100-pound kettlebell, and you're going to do deadlifts at 315. What? Fuck. I just got out of my couch.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? You know what I mean? But then everybody likes that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, fuck yeah, bro.
It's the wow. It's the wow factor. It's the wow factor. Or you got these, and you got these dudes that are
about
fucking
redefining the wow factor.
That's what it's got to be. Well, that's why, like, when I think about working one-on-one with clients, because I do all of my business is one-on-one, and I work with a lot of people, and I like to hear what because somebody's coming to you, they're vulnerable. They're like, listen, I'm unhappy with my fitness. I'm unhappy with the way I look right now. I'm unhappy with the way I feel about myself. I'm unhappy with the way my clothes fit. Like, it takes like breaking down walls to be able to tell somebody like that, let alone you don't even really know this person that well. And it's like, so what do? We make people feel comfortable, let them know that they can trust us to talk to us about that, and we're going to get them there,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I like to set these certain expectations of, hey, listen, just so you know, there's a lot of information out there. You can go on social media and see people doing shit that looks crazy. People that are already fit, like you said, somebody who's juggling a kettlebell. That person didn't just pick up a kettlebell the first time and juggle it. They did a goblet squat with it. They did a deadlift with it. They learned how to properly swing it. You know what I mean? Like, so we're going to start like a baby. You're going to crawl, you're going to walk, and then you're going to run,
Exactly.
So, yeah. And you got to help people understand that. And I think that's the coolest part of what we do. It's that helping people aspect, like letting people know, like, listen, you had this in you the whole time. I'm just helping you find it. Right.
Yeah, I'm just knocking the dust off you so you can move and feel better. And that's the problem of a person like in your position or mine, is that we care about human behavior and human health when most people don't. You know what I mean? So you are trying and stressing about how can you help people live better, but it's hard sometimes, like pulling teeth from a great white shark. You know what I mean? It's just people, they just don't want it until it's too late, and then the whole pandemic hits and people are like, oh, fuck.
Oh,
If
fuck,
I
I
don't get in
gained 30
shape,
pounds and
yeah, if I don't get in shape, I'm going to catch this and I'm going to keel over and die. So now more and more people are excited about getting in shape, but then there's no gyms open. So now the cost of fitness has skyrocketed because now people are having to charge for their time. And then individuals are like, oh my God, I didn't know it was going to cost this much money to get in shape. Be like, well, you're paying for someone's time. You're paying for their knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, let's just talk about a barber, right? You go to see your barber. Your barber charges $50 a haircut, but he does it in 10 minutes. And you're like, bro, you really charging $50 for a haircut? Yep. Fuck, man. You know what I mean?
oh
Then you
yeah.
start to realize that haircut is going to lead to so many more opportunities because it's going to directly reflect how you feel. And that feeling is going to go into what you do with your day and how you present yourself to people you interact with. It's the same concept with how much you charge as an instructor. You know what I mean? You're able to efficiently teach somebody in a timely manner to get them towards their goals fast. That's what they're paying for. You know what I mean? And more people start to understand the value of time, then they'll be like, okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to go see John. John only charges $20 an hour, and I'm going to work with him for a month. Okay, that's cool. What'd you learn? He taught me how to do an air squat and a push-up. Oh, okay, cool. How do you feel? Be like, oh, I feel pretty good. Okay, cool. Then you go see Corey. Corey charges $150 an hour for a month. And then you saw him however many times. What'd you learn? Shit, man. What didn't I learn? I learned how to kettlebell swing, goblet squat. I learned how to do push-ups, squats, lunges. I even got my first pull-up in the month working with him. And he taught me how to deadlift and bench press and understand nutrition. Oh, shit. Maybe I should have gone with him.
Yeah. Of course. And yeah, and that's like we said, there's so much information out there, and there's so many, you got to be able to. The thing is, it's kind of a time for people to just capitalize on other people's ignorance, unfortunately. You know what I mean? In terms of, if you look the part already and you say, hey, listen, come do this, you don't necessarily need to be good. You could.
But there's only a problem with that, is that there are people that look really, really good without their shirt off, but they don't know how to teach people how to get that way.
Yeah, for sure.
So people have to do their own research and they have to build up their credibility. And credibility is built by what you display and how you display it and how you present it. And if you present it in a way where it is easily understood, through hearing and through visually. Because if an individual sees your product, you are the symbol of it. So your representation of your product. Okay, cool. This guy is in good shape, and this is what he does for exercise, for health and fitness. I like what he does, and I think that he's in good shape. So he probably can get me in good shape. Oh, and he knows how to teach it because he's demonstrating educational value with his product. Okay, cool. So this guy is in good shape. He moves well, and he can teach well. Those are the things you got right there.
Oh yeah, those are super important. Those are huge.
Important. But people aren't looking at that. People are looking at $9.99 subscriptions and feeding the pockets of these fitness influencers that are playing on the ignorance of those that are less inclined.
Of the general population. Yeah, man, and that's what it is. But yep. Coach Maverick, I want to say thank you. We're at the end of our time here for the show, but I want you to tell my listeners where they could find you and where they could find some of your stuff. And you got a lot of great information and knowledge on your page, and people that are interested in maybe getting into kettlebells or fitness. Where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram, Maverick's Fieldhouse, and you can find my website, mavericksfieldhouse.com. I offer classes that you can sign up. You don't even have to talk to me. And right now we have a Saturday class at noon, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. It's based on one kettlebell. All you need to do is have some basic kettlebell knowledge, and there's a lot of coaching involved with it. And then I train with everybody. So it's education and fitness all in about 60 to a minute or to an hour and 15 or something like that. Depends on how many questions people have and so on and so forth. And then you can find as much content as you need on Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel that is slowly developing into more instructional value. But sky's the limit for anything. If you do mavericksfieldhouse.com or mavericksfieldhouse@gmail.com, you'll find me. I'm very, very approachable and here to help anybody who needs help with whatever kind of fitness they want. Doesn't matter. As long as it's not fitness pizza in your mouth. So
there you go. Well, thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed that and found some value in that. And find Coach Maverick on Instagram and everywhere else. Find me at CoreyHasAPodcast@gmail.com. Find me on Instagram, Corey Easley _ and hit me up, holla at your boy, correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you for tuning in. Like the show, share it, and subscribe to it. Later.
Good stuff, y'all. Be well.